Hi everyone, Radhe Radhe. So I am really have gone down a rabbit hole right now that I've mentioned before that you guys know about if you've watched any of my videos or if you've watched in general my videos, and that is just not feeling very good about the Shastras, Indian Shastras, and Prabhupada in terms of how they treat women. So I've been reading Leelamrit in order to try to understand Prabhupada. And like you might know that in the beginning, I wasn't reading Prabhupada's commentaries. I was only reading Chaitanya Charan Prabhu's commentaries and Swami Mukundandan's commentaries. And then I decided to trust. I decided that I was keeping this boulder in front of me and I was trying to push it in front of me, and I decided to put it on the side. So I was still connected to that. There was still a thread connecting me to that because I still had those questions about why he's treating women like that and why he's talking about women as being less intelligent and all of that. And so I started reading Leelamrit and I started reading his commentaries even on these videos, and and I've been attending these Bhagavad Gita classes that have been happening locally in person, and so they were talking about. So I hadn't read the commentary of chapter 1 verse 40 of Prabhupada. I'd only read the translation, and the translation had triggered me. The verse had triggered me because Arjun had talked about women being the ones who are responsible for the degradation of society if the men are not there. So I felt that he was being negative about women. But when I read Prabhupada's purport, when we got to that in the in-person class, then I got really triggered, and that was on Saturday. So since then I have been very triggered. I hadn't shot a video because I was trying to process it. I tried to process it with someone as well, and I think I have a deeper understanding of it, but it's not taken me to a place of it's taken me down a road. Like yesterday, even right now, I'm feeling very heavy. I feel like I'm made of stone or lead or something. I feel like there's darkness, I'm not seeing light in terms of, because if I'm not able to trust Prabhupada, then I'm not able to really follow this path, but I don't think Krishna is like that. So I'm going to shoot a different video for it. I'm going to continue to do this. I'm going to catch up because I lost 2 days. So I'm going to continue to go through these verses right now, and I'm going to shoot a different video on 1.40 and my analysis of it, because I've read through it many times, and I think I've gotten over. There's still a little bit of sting when I read it, but I think I've gotten to a stage where I'm a lot over that sting, so I'm able to see it for what it is rather than see it just through the lens of emotion. And I can talk about what my feelings about that are, which are not pro Prabhupada. I'm just warning. So if you do end up watching that, just understand that it's not pro Prabhupada and not pro Shastras. But that's where I'm at right now, and I will share why I'm there, and hopefully I'll share it with peace and calm. I'm not going to be, but yeah, there'll be some emotion, but not, okay, so let's do the verse right now. This is chapter 4, verse 33. Shreya dravya maya dyagyaj Jnana Yog parantapa sarvam karmakhilam partha jnane pare samapyate. The translation is, O chastiser of the enemy, Parantapa, the sacrifice performed in knowledge is better than the mere sacrifice of material possessions. After all, son of Pratha, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Again, he's calling out to Arjun twice now. Arjuna in I was told that Arjun is an Urdu way of saying it. It's Arjuna in the Sanskrit way, so I'm going to say Arjuna, not Arjuna, but Arjuna. So all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. Okay. So Shreyan Dravya Mayad Yagyaj. Is it Yagyaj? Yeah. Shriyan, greater of material dravya mayat, of material possessions, yagya, than the sacrifice. Greater than the sacrifice of material possessions, jnana yagya, paradapa is jnana yagya, sacrifice of jnana, sacrifice of knowledge. Jnana. Sarvam karma khilam partha. Partha again he called him. So sarvam, all karma activities, khilam in totality, akhilam in totality. Of all activities in totality, O son of Pritha, Arjuna, jnane parisamapyate, end in knowledge. All activities in totality, all sacrifices of work culminate in transcendental knowledge. So, what he's saying here is, and this I'm reading from Prabhupada, because he's not talking about women here. He's good when he's not talking about women. He knows when he's not talking about women, but as soon as he starts talking about women, I've almost never seen him talk about women in a positive. I mean, he'll talk about specific women in a positive light, but I've never heard him talk about women in general in a positive light. So yeah, real knowledge culminates in Krishna consciousness, the highest stage of transcendental knowledge. Without the elevation of knowledge, sacrifices are simply material activities, but when they're elevated to transcendental knowledge, they enter into the spiritual platform. So sacrificial activities like karma kand, fruitive activities, and gyan kand is knowledge of pursued truth. It is better when the end is knowledge. Okay, so Swami Mukhananand has a pretty good, as usual, way of explaining it. So he's saying he's putting the previous described sacrifices in proper perspective. He's saying it's good to do physical activities of devotion, but it's not good enough. It's not as good as knowledge. So, or ritualistic, so the physical activities are the ritualistic ceremonies, the fasts even, the mantra chants even, the holy pilgrimages, all of them. But if they're not performed with knowledge, they remain physical activities, and such mechanical activities are better than not doing, but they're not sufficient to purify the mind. You can rotate the chant beads, but the mischief of the mind will not cease. Rotate the beads of the mind, he says, whatever. Okay. Engage your mind. The cause of bondage and liberation is the mind. Whatever form of devotion you do, engage your mind in meditating upon God. So yeah, the chanting of the Maha Mantra is very, very important. But at the same time, we need to engage our mind in thinking about God. And I think what Prabhupada says is that the first stage, and there are many stages. I don't know. There is so much that I don't know. I'm learning. But the first stage is, if I understand correctly, is that we listen while we're chanting. So we're speaking, we're using our tongue and we're using our ears to listen. And then the next stage is going to be to think about God while we're chanting. Then next stage is going to be feel about God while we're chanting. You know, that these are the stages. But these stages have to come naturally, I think. Like somebody also said, don't force yourself to feel while you're chanting. Just listen. Just start with listening, and automatically all these stages will come. I think I may be totally wrong, but this is what I understand. So devotional sentiments are nourished by the cultivation of knowledge. So yeah, and then he gives an example. You can read that example if you want to. Okay, so that's it for today, for this video. I'm going to, the next verse will be chapter 4, verse 34. Wish you all a day filled with spiritual growth. Radhe Radhe.